At -71°C, the Siberian night can turn deadly in minutes. Inside, one old woman had already settled in for the long storm. Then, through the wind, she heard a cry that didn't belong to the storm. At 93, she had learned the difference between ordinary noise and a plea for help. Just beyond the porch, a husky was fighting not to disappear into the snow. Another hour out there, and the storm would make the choice for her. Most people would have shut the door. She reached for the storm. She did not rush. In cold like this, panic kills faster than ice. 93 years had slowed her body, but not her will. Behind her was warmth. In front of her was the kind of cold that erases tracks, memory, and time. The dog didn't growl. She only looked at the old woman as if she had been waiting for her. She wasn't wild, she was desperate. First, she had to free the leg. Then she had to pray the dog could still walk. But the moment the husky stood, it became clear the rescue was only beginning. She didn't want shelter. She wanted the old woman to follow. At 93, she walked away from her only warmth and followed the dog into the storm.
Every step out here cost breath, strength, and time. The cold was winning inches at a time. There had been a sled, and something had gone very wrong. Then the dog stopped, as if they had reached the place she feared most. Buried under the snow was the reason she had come. An old sled had overturned here and never made it back. She searched for a driver, a body, any sign of who had been here, but the dog only dug harder. Then she saw it, something small, hidden under the drift. At her age, every movement cost her. She dug anyway. And then something moved. The storm had buried more than a sled. Beneath the sled, she found what the mother had been guarding with her life. She had not been begging for help for herself. She had been begging for her babies. One of them was already drifting toward the kind of sleep that doesn't end.
There was only one chance: get them back to the stove before the cold finished its work. And hidden in the snow was a detail she did not yet understand. Now she had 4 lives to carry back: her own, the mother's, and the 3 she held inside her coat. The hardest part had not been finding them, it was getting back alive. The Taiga vanished into white. At 93, each step now looked like it might be her last. One of the puppies had gone frighteningly still. Then the storm led them to one more test. If she fell, all of them would go into the cold at once. Somehow, the dog who needed saving had become her guide. Then, at last, the cabin returned out of the white. They had made it back, but not yet to safety. She used the oldest rescue method she knew: cloth, heat, patience, and hope. But one little body still refused to wake. The mother never looked away. Then, at last, a twitch. For one brief moment, it seemed the storm had lost. But the mother still wasn't at peace. The mother wasn't restless. She was asking for help again. Then she saw what the storm had almost hidden, proof that one was still missing. 3 had made it in, 1 had not. Most people would not have gone back out. She followed the mother one more time. Now it was no longer a rescue, it was a race against a storm already winning. This time, the mother knew exactly where she was going. The trail ended at a fallen pine. There was no strength left to save for later. There it was, the last one, buried alive. She held it against the only heat she had left. If the lantern died now, they could lose the cabin and each other. The race was on again. Against the storm, they made it back one more time. By dawn, the storm had finally let go. All 4 had survived the night. For the first time, the mother rested. She said nothing. She didn't need to. Some rescues end with survival. The rare ones end with trust. By afternoon, even the weakest one had begun to fight. At -71°C in Siberia, one old woman walked into death for a trapped husky and came back with a family.